glad that Mark Spears is here in the flesh.
Boogie.
Why are you so close
Boogie,
to
real talk, this feels dumb.
What? That you're... I think you scooted over.
Why?
I think you're supposed to be over here.
Am I on the right mark?
Okay. We have marks on this set. It's okay. I like you being that close. Dan's here. We got Mina Kimes and Adam Schefter. A lot to get to today. And let's begin with the Eagles beginning voluntary workouts today. One player not in the building, A.J. Brown. Adam, where do things stand between the Eagles and their star wideout?
Laura, my understanding is that a trade to New England is the most likely scenario and likely to happen on or after June 1st. You're not going to see an A.J. Brown trade this week during the draft. The financial salary cap implications would be too severe for the Philadelphia Eagles to carry. But once that passes, and once they can spread out his cap charges, which occur on June 1st, that is when a trade is likely to happen. The two sides have had discussions. They're going to have more discussions. There's no commitment or agreement in place, but it sounds like there is a real understanding that that is the most likely scenario, that A.J. Brown will wind up with the New England Patriots once we get to the month of June.
All right, so we'll keep an eye on that for sure. There's a lot of news coming through. I hear Adam's phone going off. That can only mean good things for all of us here as NFL fans. Despite the ups and downs for Brown's tenure with the Eagles, he's still been one of the best receivers in franchise history. His 81 yards per game, second best all time. He's the only Eagle ever with 4 different 1,000-yard seasons. That's 4 straight seasons of 1,000 yards and 7 touchdowns, the second longest active streak in the league. Dan, how would a guy like A.J. Brown change things for Drake May in that offense? Because I think we should live in a world where this is happening.
Yeah, I mean, Drake May had an MVP caliber season. He really didn't have a guy that they could just put up by himself and say, go win.
Right.
And so that speaks to volumes of Josh McDaniels, obviously their offensive coordinator, his creativity. The emergence of some of their young players, Stephon Diggs was great, but also just there's only so many guys in the league that are walking first downs. A.J. Brown is one of them. I mean, we revere Jamar Chase as the guy that we often say, put out by himself. He's that true X one-on-one guy, and no matter the coverage, get him the ball. A.J. Brown is in that class. When A.J.'s playing, he's top 5 in the league in just about everything. And so when you're talking about now having a quarterback or a receiver as a quarterback that you can just trust, I need a first down. Where's A.J. Brown? Throw him the football. So if the trade happens, I think all of us expect it to, it now changes the way that Drake May can play just from the line of scrimmage.
Well, I love that you brought up Drake May, because it's the age-old thing that Mina talks about all the time. Young quarterback on a rookie deal, solidify him by bringing him pieces when he's shown you he can play at a very high level. But also the relationship with Mike Vrabel. All of that ended badly in Tennessee with these players when you see where Tennessee has been. Now, I think they on the uptick now, but when you start to think about the New England Patriots, and I remember being there for Monday night and in the playoff game, and you saw the relationship between the head coach and player, because we are not going to get past the elephant in the room that this relationship in Philly seems to be scorned. It seems to be a lot going on internally with A.J. Brown as well. So a trade coming about, some familiarity, a young quarterback on the ascend, a team that you saw go to the Super Bowl last year, and just a fresh start. I'm actually excited about it, especially with what we know New England to be as far as how young that football team is.
Again, Adam's reporting today, A.J. Brown expected to be a Patriot after June 1st. Mina, how do you see Brown impacting that Pats offense if he ends up there?
I mean, Dan described it best. He gets you a bucket when you need it. He's the exact type of receiver that they've been looking for. He has the size and the ball skills that few corners in the NFL can handle, wins at all 3 levels. He affects the way defenses play you, and that's something I wanted to zero in on here, because over the last 3 years, the New England Patriots have faced man coverage more than any other team in the NFL, over 50% of the time. In that same time frame, which receiver leads all receivers league-wide in yards per route run against man coverage? It's A.J. Brown. Now, that means they're going to face less of it. They're going to face more too high, which should open up things for everyone else. The run game for some of those other receivers who can work underneath. There'll be a trickle-down effect just by having him on the field. So for New England, I think this made a ton of sense, especially because while they have a young quarterback, they are on a playoff timeline. They're just in the Super Bowl, so this is the kind of player that you want to add.
Yeah, think about the roles, too. I mean, you're going to have 2 just big-bodied starting receivers, Kayshon Boutte and A.J. Brown on the outside. Dobbs is plenty capable of working on the inside. You've got Pop Douglas still. You've got a burner in Kyle Williams. Don't forget Mac Hollins. And so this went from, at this point last year, like a significant weakness in their football team to now you have so many, and for Josh McDaniels, who's a mad scientist with just creating matchups off rolls, you have so many different guys that can fill and kind of thrive in so many different roles with their physical kind of abilities. It's a big deal.
Mina, this makes me think about Thursday. I mean, 3 days away from the draft. How do you see the Browns situation impacting Philly's decisions on draft night?
I think they're going to have to take a receiver. The question is when. You know, Philadelphia does love to address the trenches, and they might do that in the first round. But I got to say, I would consider Denzel Boston the Washington wide receiver if I were them. Not just because, yes, he has a skill set that does have some similarities to A.J. Brown's game in terms of the size, the frame, the contested catch ability, but I also think Jalen Hurts, because of his proclivities as a quarterback, needs that type of receiver. Even though I think Devontae Smith can take on more volume and he's so talented, you do want a guy who can win on the perimeter, win those goal balls downfield. So I would love Boston's fit in this offense if A.J. Brown was gone.
I like it. I think Boston's got kind of lost in some of the receiver conversation, and he shouldn't be. The Eagles, by the way, they have 8 picks overall in this year's draft, 6 in the first 4 rounds. So a lot. I know. Howie. Okay, back to the blockbuster trade of the weekend that changed the trajectory of the draft. Dexter Lawrence is a Bengal now, and the Giants have the 5th and 10th pick in the first round on Thursday. The Bengals, as you see here, the footage, look at the big fella introducing their new D tackle earlier today. Here's what he had to say.
The saying kept coming to me, you know, you got to be uncomfortable to get comfortable. And, you know, like when this opportunity came, I jumped at it because I knew I was going to be uncomfortable. You got to learn a lot of new names, you know, move to a new city and, you know, bring my family and my dogs and find that place. So I knew it was going to be a little uncomfortable. That's the process, though. And I think I adjust well and I handle those things well. So I was just excited to be here, especially with my dog BJ, to play with him, you know, get another opportunity to play with him and, you know, take this thing to another level.
You don't have to take detailed notes on Dexter Lawrence. You know, those are guys you've known since he came into the draft, that you don't have to remind yourself the presence he has on the field and the way you have to game plan around him and the production he creates for those around him.
All right, we're going to talk about the Giants side in a little bit, but let's talk the Bengals side of this first, Adam. Why did they feel like this was the right deal for them?
Well, Laura, I think there are a couple of things to keep in mind here. Number one, I think that they have to make an effort for this team to win as soon as possible to prevent any speculation in the future about Joe Burrow's future in Cincinnati. If this team continues to struggle, there will continue to be questions about whether or not Joe Burrow would want to be there in the long term. And so the Bengals felt like to go out and get a player like Dexter Lawrence, who has been double-teamed consistently, who's been a top defensive tackle in the league despite his down year last year. They felt like they were getting a player that would be better than any player they could get in the draft at number 10. And as they assessed the board, they felt like this was a no-brainer. And even if the defensive players fall off the board, it just reinforces the notion. So the Bengals were willing to do something that this organization never has done, and that's trade a top 10 pick in the first round for a veteran player. Never happened in Bengals franchise history, but they know what he can do for that defense. They know how important this year is to the franchise and to Joe Burrow, and they decided that now was the time to be ultra aggressive.
Schefter, you said a mouthful in the beginning. This was a big part about Joe Burrow and putting the defense on the field that could solidify what they've been doing offensively. It's not that you have to be the best defense in the NFL. You just have to be middle of the pack. The dude was winning games with an awful defense and almost put themselves back in the playoff hunt. The other thing is this, too. They brought Bouye Mafe in the offseason, Jonathan Allen, another defensive tackle that's had really good runs at every stop that he's had, and now you add Dexter Lawrence. What couldn't this team do last year? They couldn't rush the pass outside of Trey Hendrickson, and they couldn't stop the run. Now they fixed and bolstered both of that. The middle of this defense is going to be a problem for a lot of offenses when you start thinking about the physicality in which these guys play with, and Myles Murphy flashed as well. Here's the thing, too. If you're Cincinnati, when do you break the trend? When do you break the trend of being this conservative organization that don't want to go for it all? Now, a step in the right direction was the fact that you locked up T. Higgins and Jamar Chase under Joe Burrow's request. So I don't know how much credit I give them for making that decision, but these type of moves are championship mindset type moves, and I like the fact that Dexter Lawrence was a guy because now you have a real defensive identity when you bring him in.
I can't get over how much Marcus looks like Dexter Lawrence.
What?
We don't look alike.
What? Yo,
Dan,
100%
come on.
look alike.
That's, you know what? There's something bad we could say about that. We're going to leave it, though.
Well,
Dan,
all black
Dan,
people look alike.
hey.
All big dudes,
Well,
all big black dudes look alike.
No, but y'all do.
Dan.
No, Dan.
Hey,
we don't look alike.
Marcus, all backup quarterbacks look alike. So
I mean, there's a little bit of reality to that.
I think that's true.
Y'all do, though.
They all leave 2 buttons unbuttoned on their shirt. I know that.
He's going to do a third, and we're all going to get nervous.
Can I ask you a question? Not nervous. What do you think is more impact? I don't know if I've ever asked you this. What do you think is more impactful or beneficial? A dominant interior guy helping their edge rushers, or dominant edge rushers helping interior guys?
I think it's a dominant interior guy. You know, I've said this for a while, Dio. I thought every player that played with Aaron Donald benefited and got better. I thought every player that played with Chris Jones benefited and got better. And when you draft guys knowing that a guy is going to dominate a double team, now you can look at your edge rushers about who can win one-on-one.
Because it's like, can Boye Mafe become even better than he was?
Absolutely.
Or a Miles Murphy, can he show Shamar Stewart, their first-round pick from last year? Maybe they're not going to be stars.
But also, though, like to your point, I don't want people to forget, John Allen is a real good pass rusher from the interior as well.
Yeah.
So both of those guys will help benefit, but Dexter commands so much attention because you know you can't leave guards one-on-one with him. You know if the center slides to him, now they've solidified the other 3 technique position. But he's one of those, what Mike T call him, a force multiplier.
There we go.
Mike Tannenbaum.
Mike T makes
Mike
one.
Tannenbaum.
Mike Tomlin.
Mike Tannenbaum. Yeah.
Go ahead, Adam.
Dan, you and Adam look
And
alike.
I think Dexter Lawrence steps into a plate.
I don't know.
My bad.
I can tell you this, Marcus. I got a lot more hair on my chest than Dan.
Oh, that's why Adam doesn't do
You got to shave it, Shefty. You got to manscape it.
I feel like I
Wow,
always
Dan
do
must be
this.
manscaped.
Okay, anyway,
Messing
we
up.
digress.
Yeah.
We digress. I think Dexter Lawrence is stepping into a place that's going to be quite comfortable. B.J. Hill is along the defensive line. He played with Dexter Lawrence in New York. They have T. Higgins there, 2 Clemson guys.
Yep.
I think this is a place where he's going to be excited to go. They're excited to have him. And again, I don't think we could emphasize enough how important this season is to Joe Burrow and making sure that it goes the way that the Bengals want. If it doesn't, I think there's going to be a lot of speculation that comes up in Cincinnati. If they win, everything's all good and it's quieted down. If it doesn't, a lot of questions will come up after the season.
All right. I like how Adam has to be the. Oh,
See, y'all
come
cannot
on.
tell me that y'all don't look alike.
They look totally different. I think they
You're
look totally
out of your
different.
mind, Laura.
Dan,
They're 2
It's just how you-
enormous,
it's just how you
bald
see
black
it.
dudes.
It's just how you see it, Dan.
You have a beard in your
Okay, and you guys, look at you 2. Yeah. Twinsies.
2
I don't know.
little
Hey, I don't know
white
who.
dudes
I don't know who that's a compliment to.
with hair.
Maybe we're all in a good place, you know?
Nobody looks
Everybody
like
looks good.
I like how Adam had to get us back together there because I will just let it go because it's so entertaining to me. Adam's like, can I be the adult in the room
Yeah,
here?
yeah.
Hey,
Thank you,
later
Shefty.
on, we are going to react to the Giants side of this because now they've got the 5th and the 10th overall pick. How do they use it? We're just getting started on NFL Live with the 49ers extending All-Pro
there I go
offensive
again.
tackle Trent Williams. Got the big fellas in here. Mina tells us why she thinks the 49ers shouldn't be done addressing that